Hey beautiful, welcome to Dr. Sarah's Café. This is your weekly tarot reading, which I post every Tuesday. These are timeless and they are for all signs. If you're drawn to click, then my hope is that the message is healing, affirming, or supportive for you in some way. And keep in mind that these scenarios might be referring to something in your past. They could play out for weeks, months, even years, okay? We have 2 cards that have already fallen. That's 3. And we'll get one more, shall we? The cards are very talkative today. Actually, I want another one. Yes. All right. Bottom of the deck, we have Judgment. It's interesting how quickly the cards fell out after I started shuffling. What's this? This is the Devil coming out at the back. So we have Temperance. No, Judgment, which is the past, the far past, usually a couple of decades, 20 years or more into the past. It could also represent ancestors, ancestry, so Judgment being things that have crossed over, things that have already been buried, but maybe there's some echoing of them in the present moment, or they come back in the present moment, either through memories or maybe people from the far past, either through conversations, letters, documents, emails, social media engagement. Something about the far past is resurfacing now around this time or as part of the story that's unfolding for you regarding this message. Okay, so one of the first cards that fell out, I don't remember the exact order, was Temperance. And Temperance makes me think that there's some healing regarding this past situation. So maybe something is returning from the past so that you have another opportunity to go through a spell of healing, and spell is an interesting choice of words. So for some of you, you might actually be casting spells. Okay, I'm reading this new book called Poetry as Spell Casting. Once I'm done reading it, I will include it more in my weekly refills. But Temperance is saying that it's almost like the energy, the feeling from the past comes back again, but it's coming back so that you can look at it. It's coming back so that you can process it, right? You can't process emotions that you don't feel, right? Which is the catch-22, right? Process your emotions means you have to actually feel them. So some things could be stirred up, and I want to even say triggered. Okay, there could even be something that feels triggering because of its connection to your deep past. But don't let that throw you off and think, oh, I'm being triggered. It means I'm not healed. But actually, the trigger that you feel in the moment for this scenario anyway is merely to bring you back into touch, bring you back into contact with that emotion so that you can process it, so that you can alchemize it, right? And so it's bringing the emotion back to you in the present, in your conscious awareness, so that you can breathe through it, so that you can meditate through it, so that you can process it, so that you can be with it and sit with it and just work to heal it, right? And so being triggered is not always a sign that you aren't healed. Sometimes feeling triggered is part of the process so that you can heal the things that feel triggering. I hope that makes sense. Now, another card that came out is the 3 of Pentacles. So this has to do with other people, but also you are learning more about yourself through this process. You're learning, because I also have the Queen of Discs. So it could have something to do with your material reality, right? And so you could be learning more about how to take care of yourself, learning more about your material needs, learning who's helping you, who's supportive in your life, and who has been supportive in the past. So maybe these things coming up from the past is to show you this is what it looks like when people are really on your team. This is what it looks like when people are really supportive of your processes versus trying to derail or detract. And even if they're not trying to detract from your growth and development, maybe they just unconsciously are not helpful or antithetical to the mission and the purpose. The Three of Pentacles coming out next to this Queen of Pentacles is what you're trying to learn. It's what you're growing and developing into. Another way that this could play out is that this could represent, I'm getting that it's not the person, I'm getting that it's more so where you've grown to. It's who you've become now. And so you can look back at the past and reflect on, I'm being triggered from this old wound or this old situation in the moment, but I can recognize now that I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. I'm a different person than I was 20 years ago. I'm a different person than I was 50 years ago. And you now, because of your inner work, because of the work you've done on yourself, you now know how to care for yourself when you feel triggered. You now know how to meet your needs. You now know how to ask for help when you need it, right? You now know how to build your own foundations for yourself. And if this isn't you, this could be a supportive person who reminds you of that, right? Or that maybe a person that you're learning from. This could be a role model that you're looking to help you understand the ways that you can care for yourself, reach for help, build community that's loving and sustaining to your spirit and to your material reality. And the reason why I feel like the Queen of Discs is supportive is because we have the King of Cups who came out with the Five of Wands. And I think this is the trigger. And it came out with the Page of Swords. So there could be a message from, to, or about a King of Cups that stirs something in you, right? It stirs up. The Temperance can also be like a stirring, like mixology kind of stirring things up. So it stirs up your emotions. And if it's not a King of Cups person, then this is what's being stirred up in you, is your own emotional reality. Okay. So on the mundane practical level, you could get a message from a King of Cups water sign person, maybe a masculine water sign person, or just someone. And if it's not from them, it could be about them, right? Or maybe you see a letter that they wrote you 10 years ago, or you come across, a Facebook memory where they left a comment on that post, right? But there's definitely some message or some social media post or some email or letter that brings this situation back from the past. And if it's not the same situation, it makes you feel the way you used to feel, right? So it can be a brand new person, but it's bringing up old emotions, it's bringing up old wounds now in the present so that you can alchemize them, right? So that you can alchemize them and turn them into something healing. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and that's kind of what the Temperance is. That's what alchemizing is. Okay. So I want to clarify the Five of Wands to maybe understand why this King of Cups situation stirs something within you. I prefer the word stir rather than trigger because trigger has such negative connotations, and I don't feel like it's a negative kind of trigger. I feel like it's just stirring up the emotions. And in this moment, I'm also seeing that this could be excitement. Okay, the King of Cups might be bringing something that's really exciting to you, but that scares you. You know what I mean? Like if you have like an old wound or an old story or an old narrative, which was the flavor of the week, right? Rewriting those stories, then someone could be expressing their love for you and it makes you feel uncomfortable, somewhat, and not uncomfortable because they're being sleazy or disrespectful, but uncomfortable because you're not comfortable receiving love. You're not comfortable receiving affection. So on one hand, it could be like a positive thing that's triggering. Like it could be something exciting and lovely that's happening to you that kind of compels you to face the wound of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy of love or genuine connection. I hope that makes sense too. Like, oh, I'm getting a great opportunity, but I am trying to sabotage it because I don't think I'm ready, or, I'm just scared to be seen. I'm scared to open my heart. And so I'm feeling resistance. That was also one of the previous flavors of the week. I'm feeling resistance towards this loving energy. Okay. So you'll know what resonates for you, whether it's an old wound or a person who triggers you, or whether it's something exciting that is triggering you, something good and loving that's triggering you. Either way, it's coming up now so that you can heal it. It's coming up now so that you can alchemize it, temper it with your own sense of security and stability, okay? And I also want to clarify the Page of Spears to see what the message might be. I'm just going to use the same deck because I didn't bring any others out at the moment. Where's the Frida? The Frida Kahlo deck is over there, so I'm going to get that. Excuse me. And for some of you, this could happen in the workplace or in an educational setting at school or something. On a mundane level, the Three of Pentacles could be learning, education, schooling. But I really get it's about you building your life and becoming the Queen of Discs, or receiving support from a Queen of Discs. And then this King of Cups appears, possibly from the past, or a King of Cups that reminds you of the past or trigger something from your past. Okay, let's look at this Page of Spears to see what kind of message, or what is the message that is shared, whether it's email, social media, a phone call, or a text. Oops. You have the King of Swords and the Fool. The King of Swords and the Fool. Okay, so this makes sense. So the King of Swords would be a new person. But that new person, or that new message, that new opportunity, that new contact, that new connection, right? Or that new idea, that new communication stirs up your heart. It creates resistance in your heart, and you might be struggling to get into this King of Cups energy. You might be resisting this King of Cups energy towards the message that you receive. But the King of Swords and the Fool suggest that the message contains exciting things. It doesn't mean you have to accept it or receive it, but it's not a purposefully hurtful message. It's not someone who's trying to pick at you, right? Or bully you, right? It could be a perfectly benign message, or maybe someone's sharing about something exciting in their life. Maybe you get a text message that someone just got a new job, or that someone's moving abroad, and and that could be what triggers you, right? Like someone sharing their exciting news. Yeah, the Fool, it's like happy-go-lucky. So it could be a very innocent message that comes through. So keep that in mind, because it's different when someone, is being passive-aggressive, or they leave a negative comment or something, or they send you a passive-aggressive text, or it's a letter saying we're going to shut down the business and lay off 50 people, right? So there could be communication that is actually not great to receive. But this Page of Swords seems more benign, more innocent, more innocuous, and maybe even fun, flirty, or maybe someone just asking a question like, hey, I'm coming to your town, It could be, something small that brings up a lot from the past. So let's look at this King of Cups and this Five of Wands. I'm keeping them together because that's how they fell. Tell me more about the King of Cups and the Five of Wands. Justice. And the Chariot. Yeah. I like that Justice is there because it's a choice. It is a very sovereign, dedicated, committed choice to, you'll decide, but I'm hoping your heart. The choice to remain true to your heart, even when it's hard. Even when it's hard to open your heart, it's almost like you have to find the grit and the courage to be in your heart space, to be in your emotional center and act from your heart. Now, if this, going back to the scenario where this is another person, then they are doing that work, right? Then that's what they are doing, okay? But justice is also balance, karmic balance, situational balance, justice in a situation. So it could range from anything like an apology or just making up for lost time or making up for moments in your life where you didn't receive the balance, you didn't receive the support, you didn't receive the positive affirmation. Okay, so there's something here where you can sort of pay off a debt to yourself, to your soul, or the universe is helping to pay off this karmic debt where you just weren't treated as well as you deserved, whether that be by yourself or by others. Okay? And then with the Chariot at the bottom of the deck, this could be forward momentum, Six of Swords. Oh, and the Six of Wands. So this has the potential for a very positive outcome. It's just a little bit of resistance. It's just a little trigger. It's just a little test is what I'm getting. I don't get that this is major. I don't think it's like a big life-changing scenario where, nothing is ever the same again. I mean, in some sense, yes, because if you pass the test, then you're done with this old issue. But it's more so just a moment that shows you how far you've come in your healing journey. It's just a moment, a little exchange of information or ideas or communication that just reminds you that you deserve good things, that you absolutely can trust living in accordance with your emotional truth and with an open heart. Okay? That's what I have for you this week. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and like the video if you received some value from this message. And I hope to see you in another video. Take care.